We usually think of the Big Bang as, the starting gun. The moment the clock started ticking, the singularity, the explosion, and then boom, time and space begin.
Hmm.
But the documents we're looking at today ask a pretty terrifying question.
Yeah.
What if someone was already waiting there when the gun went off?
And not just waiting, suffering. We are looking at a collection of lore notes, script drafts, and, well, biological profiles for a species called the Brisk.
Also known as the Unwanted.
Exactly. And right from the jump, the text establishes that they predate our universe. They are the remnants of something that came before.
Which immediately just sets the stakes so high. We aren't talking about aliens from another planet. We're talking about entities from another reality entirely. And the vibe I'm getting from these notes isn't like conquering overlords. It's much more tragic. It feels like they're refugees in our timeline.
That is a perfect way to frame it. Refugees of existence. Our mission today is to unpack the biology, the evolution, and the philosophy of these hidden guardians.
I love that.
And I want to warn you, this isn't your standard superhero setup. We are going to look at a final form evolution that sounds just painful. A biological supply chain failure at the dawn of time, and a philosophical war that completely flips our understanding of light and dark.
Okay, let's start with that supply chain failure, because that really stuck out to me. The notes describe the Brisk, the Unwanted, as having this distinct, deep black skin.
Right, not like human melanin, but something absolute.
Exactly, but the Peck says this was actually a mistake.
It was. This is where the lore gets really specific about their creation myth. They were created by a force that's described as kind of evil, but the intention was for them to be these powerful, glowing beings.
Glowing how?
They were designed to have black skin with bright blue highlights.
The blue source. The notes keep referring to this stuff.
Exactly, and you should think of the blue highlights not as decoration, but more like a battery indicator. That blue was the physical manifestation of a massive cosmic power source. But here is the tragedy. During the transition between the old universe and ours, before the Big Bang, the supply chain broke. The stuff ran out.
So they were essentially printed with low ink.
In a cosmic sense, yes, that's a great way to put it. They came out of the universal printer defective. Most of the Brisk are just black, the unwanted state.
Wow.
And the blue is this recessive lost power that they're just desperate to get back. They are a species living in a power saver mode because the universe broke before they were even finished.
And that explains the note about the main character. It mentions an individual who has more blue than anyone has ever seen. In any other story, that's just the chosen one trope, know. But here, it reads more like a genetic anomaly, a recessive gene suddenly flaring up.
It grounds the fantasy in biology. He isn't powerful because of magic. He's powerful because he's the only one who isn't, broken.
He's what they were all supposed to be.
He is what the species was meant to be.
Yeah.
And that scarcity drives the conflict. When you're a damaged species, wholeness becomes the ultimate treasure.
Okay, so we have these unwanted beings. They look humanish when they're hiding among us, but they have this blank state.
Right.
But then they hit puberty. And if you think human puberty is awkward, the Brick have it, horrifyingly so. The notes talk about a critical age between 17 and 19.
This is the biological pivot point. Up until 17, they're basically mimicking the dominant species, in this case humans. But between 17 and 19, they undergo a shift into their final form.
The description here is so intense. It says they stop looking human and become godly walking statues, shaped like their past form, but blank.
Statues is the key word there. It implies calcification, durability. They become something permanent.
And permanent in a very specific way.
For sure. And the notes get very specific about the stats here. Upon reaching this final form, they receive a 5% to 15% increase in both brain power and energy.
Which, to be honest, sounds a little small on paper. 15%. In a video game, that's like a minor patch.
It sounds small in a game, sure, but biologically. Apply that to a human. Imagine if tomorrow you could think 15% faster than everyone else in the room.
Oh, wow. You're processing threats, reading micro expressions, calculating trajectory in physics. Everything is sharper. It's the difference between a standard human and an elite Olympic athlete, and it's happening almost overnight.
And that brain boost is probably necessary because this is also when they unlock their real power, shape-shifting. But this isn't the Mystique style where you just think of a face and change.
No. The rules here are strict.
Very strict.
First, it's DNA-based. They can't just imagine a person. They need a biological sample, a hair, a drop of blood.
Which adds this whole layer of creepiness to it.
Absolutely. They have to get close. But there's a tell, a kind of safety protocol that seems to be hard-coded into their biology.
The eye constraint.
The eye constraint. No matter who they transform into, man, woman, child, they always retain their original eye color.
It feels like such a classic thriller movie device. You're
Yeah.
talking to your friend, everything seems normal, and then you just catch the light in their eyes and realize that's not them. It forces them to be careful. They can wear the suit, but they can't hide the soul, so to speak. But there is a much, much darker rule regarding shape-shifting, the madness rule.
Yeah, this one is heavy.
Yeah.
A blank can never transform into another blank.
Just think about the physics of that. They are blank canvases. If a canvas tries to become another canvas, there is no image to latch onto.
There's nothing there.
Nothing. The source describes the result as a descent into madness followed by a slow death, usually within a month.
It's like putting a mirror in front of a mirror. The reflection just loops until it breaks. It implies their own physiology is incompatible with itself.
It isolates them even within their own community.
They can become anything except each other.
It creates a barrier to intimacy. They can't fully know each other in that physical sense without risking death. It reinforces that whole theme of being unwanted. They're guardians of a world that isn't theirs, and they're lethal to their own kind in this one specific way.
Speaking of lethal, let's talk durability. Because while they might go mad if they shift wrong, they are incredibly hard to kill physically.
Oh, yeah.
The healing factor is listed as 7 times the speed of an average human.
7 times is just massive. A deep laceration that would take a human weeks to heal would be gone in a day or two for a Brisk.
And it says they can regrow any body part except the brain. Lose an arm, it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a really interesting cultural detail buried in this section.
Oh, yeah?
Because they heal so fast.
Yeah.
Body modifications don't work.
Right. Tattoos, piercings, they're all temporary. The body views the ink as an intruder and just pushes it out. The hole for the piercing heals shut almost instantly.
It seems like a cool superpower until you really think about the implications. We use tattoos to mark moments in our lives, right?
To remember people, to claim ownership of our bodies, yeah.
The Brisk can't do that. They are perpetually resetting to factory settings.
It erases their history. They can't carry their scars and they can't carry their art. It feeds right back into that statue description.
They're unchanging, whether they want to be or not.
Trapped in that blank perfection.
Now, we've established they're these tragic, high-powered guardians. But a guardian needs something to guard against. And this is where the lore takes a turn that I genuinely did not expect.
Oh, this part's good.
We need to talk about the Frostwhite faction.
A Kraplin. And this is the part of the source material that really elevates this from a standard sci-fi story to something, well, something philosophical.
Because usually, black equals bad, scary, and white equals good, pure. That's just the trope.
Exactly. But the lore flips it on its head. The Brisk, the black-skinned ones, were created by an evil force, but they seek to do good.
Okay.
The Frostwhite enemies, they were sent by the good guys.
Wait, explain that. The good guys made the villains.
It was a mistake in the science. The good side tried to replicate the power of the Brisk, but they messed up the formula.
So they made the Kraplin.
Beings that are physically identical to the Brisk, but with frostwhite skin. And the text describes them as evil and fully psycho.
It's the Frankenstein complex. The good side tried to play God and created a monster.
Right. But the source notes use this incredible metaphor of fire to explain the difference between the two factions. I want to dig into this because I think it's the most brilliant part of the text.
Well, I agree.
It really is. The note describes the black skin of the Brisk not as a color, but as a state of matter, starting to burn.
Starting to burn, which implies potential energy, fuel.
Precisely. Think about a log the moment it catches fire. It's consuming fuel, it's active, it's dangerous, but it's alive. It has agency, it has warmth.
That is the Brisk.
They're the unwanted, but they are the ones with the fuel. They're the engine.
And the enemy. The Frostwhite faction.
They are already burned, Fash.
That is chilling.
And I think this is the key takeaway here. Usually we think of light as good and dark as bad. But here, light or white represents something that's spent.
Used up.
If you're already burned, there's no structure left, you're just chaotic remnants. The notes describe them as crazy because they've lost the ability to contain themselves.
So the darkness is structure, fuel, and life. The white is entropy, burnout, and death. It's a total inversion.
A fascinating one. It frames the Brisk not as monsters hiding in the dark, but as living fires trying to keep from burning out. And the enemy represents what happens when you lose that control, when you become just the ash,
And that conflict isn't just metaphorical. The notes mention that the enemy, the Frostwites, cannot turn into blanks themselves. They're broken.
Right, so what do?
They try to steal that blue stuff, the ancient fuel, to force others to turn against their will.
It's a violation. They're trying to drag others into their chaos. There's a narrative beat in the notes where the main character is being tortured by the enemy.
I have the quote right here.
Oh, good.
They've captured a member of his team, not a close friend, just a colleague, and they kill him to try and break the main character. And he screams, "No, he wasn't a person I knew. He was not my friend." But he was still important altogether.
That line does so much heavy lifting. He was still important altogether. It shows that for the Brisk, life itself has weight. They aren't just fighting for their clique. They're fighting for the concept of existence. They value the potential in everyone because they know what it's like to be unwanted.
We've been talking about all this heavy cosmic baggage, the dysmorphia, the isolation, the constant war, the torture. It paints a picture of a very depressed species.
Yeah, it does.
But are they just brooding gargoyles 24/7?
Yeah. Thankfully, no. And this is where the source material really surprised me. It takes a hard left turn from cosmic horror into romantic comedy.
I think I know the note you're looking at. Is it the Oval Office scenario?
It is, because even ancient shadow guardians get bored, apparently.
So paint the picture for us.
The note outlines a script idea where the President of the United States is in the Oval Office. A woman walks in with some papers saying, "Mr. President, you need to check this." Very serious, very political.
And then,
Well, things get romantic.
but the twist.
The twist is that neither of them are who they look like. It's a shape-shifting Brisk couple. The president is the girlfriend and the lady is the boyfriend. They are using their powers to role-play as high-ranking government officials just for the thrill of it.
That's hilarious. But it actually serves a really important purpose in the lore, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It humanizes them completely. It shows that despite the angst, despite being 30,000 years old, they still crave connection. They still have a sense of humor.
They play games.
It reminds us that they aren't just biological weapons, they're people.
And that connection to humanity runs deep. There's a section in the notes that deals with their psychology, specifically how they view themselves in the mirror.
It describes a deep dysmorphia, yeah. It says, "See a severely distorted version of yourself in the mirror. It feels like your brain is a mess."
And the author explicitly connects this to the experience of autism and neurodivergence.
Right, a different nature of reality. The text argues that what looks like a disconnect, socially or emotionally, is actually an evolutionary adaptation. It says these interceptions allow them to reach emotional places others can't.
So it reframes otherness
Yeah.
as a superpower.
Yes. And there's a beautiful line about their connectivity. The hate is love. The ugly is beautiful. It suggests a kind of sensory inversion,
What do you mean?
where humans might see something ugly or dark and recoil. The Brisk see it and feel warmth. They find comfort in the things we reject.
The dislike you have in your head is all the more reason to like them.
It binds them together. They are the unwanted, so they love the unwanted parts of the world. It makes them the perfect guardians for a flawed planet.
It really brings us back to that first image we started with. Being there before the Big Bang, watching the universe boot up and realizing you were a mistake in the code.
It's a lonely position to be in, but it gives them a perspective nobody else has.
The source material ends with a quote that I think perfectly captures this mix of power and sadness. It reads, "Time hasn't always been so good to us, but who knows what one could do with so much of that power."
It's the ultimate question of their existence, isn't it? If you have been suffering since before time began, what do you do with that pain? Do you burn the world down, like the Frostwites? Or do you become the fuel that keeps it warm?
It suggests that maybe being the unwanted gives you a freedom that the wanted don't have. You aren't part of the plan, so you get to write your own script.
Even if that script involves role-playing as the president to make your boyfriend laugh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You take the blank canvas and you paint whatever you want on it. So I want to leave the listener with that thought. We all have parts of ourselves that feel unwanted, parts that feel broken or weird or dark. But looking at the Brisk, maybe those aren't defects. Maybe that's just you starting to burn.
And being on fire, being full of potential, is a much better state than being ash.
Don't let the fire go out. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Until next time.